Hello guys, and welcome to a new episode. So today I'm going to talk about the FX3 and how I rig up my FX3. That is if I'm doing live streaming. Now I've already done a video on the Blackmagic. You can go back and watch it up. But today I'm going to talk about the FX3 and how I rig it up for live streaming. So without wasting much time, let's get into today's video. Alright guys, so this is the FX3 and we are going to go through how I rig it up for live streaming. So I'm not going to do a review of the FX3. There's so many videos online about that, or I'll probably do a dedicated review talking about it and why I like it and all that. That can be in a separate video. But today, I'm just going to show you how I normally rig it up for live streaming. So these are the things that I normally use. If you watch it, this is kind of lesser than what I use for the Blackmagic, because with the FX3 you are trying to stay minimal and all that, and because of how the FX3 is and how they've made the camera, it's easy for you to kind of rig it with just some few items. So this is all that I'm going to use to rig up the FX3. So starting first, I'm going to use the Smallrig base plate. So this base plate is what is going to carry the V-mount, and with this you can use it without a cage, but today I have a cage on here, but you can literally use it without a cage. So let's put this there and let's see how it looks. So I'm just going to push it right here, see if everything is opened. Yeah, so let me just push it in right here. Good. So as you can see, is there. Let's try and center it. All right, so that's fine. Now let me lock it. So trying to lock it here. All right, so as you can see, we have the base plate here. Wow, nice. And one nice thing about this particular Smallrig base plate is that you can really adjust the length of this. So if you want to open the screen, even though it has this here that you can actually open it and be able to open the screen and all that, but it also allows you to kind of have space in between. So in case your camera is a little bit longer, you can adjust that, or you want to put some cable management in here, you can do that. But in today's video, you are going to see one of the benefits of having the space because of our V-mount battery. But when we get there, you see that. So now we have this mounted, beautifully mounted. Now the next thing I'm going to mount would be probably my V-mount battery. So the V-mount battery is going to come right here, at the back there. But one problem we have with this particular V-mount battery, now normally I don't use this particular V-mount battery, but this is what we have today, so we are going to use that. So one problem I have with this particular V-mount battery is that it always hits the top of the top hand here. So we are going to kind of adjust it a little bit so that it can fit in there. So that's one of the things that this is going to help, to mount the V-mount battery because of this. Because if it was flashed to it and I'm trying to put the V-mount battery on there, it's not going to fit. But because we can kind of extend it a little bit, we are going to kind of adjust this like that, let me lock this so that it doesn't move. Kind of extend this way, then we can actually mount the V-mount battery. So if you are doing this, you can probably do it with a smaller V-mount battery, not a bigger one like this. So as you can see, it's barely touching the top handle right here, but because of this extension, it helps it to kind of stay away from hitting this, and you can actually mount this. I can do live streaming with this. I can use this perfectly well, but I would have preferred a smaller V-mount battery. So in proper live streaming setup, I'm not going to use this big, but it works though. It fits perfectly, so it works. Now let's do that of the transmitter. So with a transmitter, as you can see, I did a video on the Pyro 7. This is the Pyro S. I did a video on a Pyro 7, so you could probably put on a Pyro 7 or a Pyro 5, which is smaller than the 7, and you can use that. That is if you don't want to use the screen right here. Maybe if you flip it out and it's too small, things are getting in the way, you want to actually have a camera right, you kind of want to have a monitor right here, so that in case you're holding it this way, you're holding it this way, you can actually have the monitor right here. You can be seeing what you are shooting. So you can put, or you can replace this Pyro S with a Pyro 7 or a Pyro 5. So I'm going to mount this. Normally I want the screen to always face me so that I cannot see what the readings are over there. So let me slide this over here. Let me tighten this a little bit, and let me loosen up this portion so that I can actually slide this in here. So yeah, so the Pyro S comes in like that. It comes in like that, and this is looking good. Okay, so now we have this. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these Npf battery on the Pyro S. You can power it directly with a V mount, but sometimes I like to go with this route, you know, kind of mounting this or powering it with this Npf battery. So we have the Npf battery there, and it's looking good. It's looking good. So far we are kind of, you know, getting there. We have everything mounted on it. So basically, normally this is how I do it. So let me just bring in the HDMI cables and the power adapter, the Type-C power adapter to be powering the camera. So let me open the port. And one good thing about this cage is that it kind of gives you access to the ports on the camera. So let me bring in the HDMI. So you have the HDMI right here. So I'm going to plug in the HDMI here. Nice. So the HDMI is nicely plugged in here, but the cable is quite long. So normally I like to, you know, wrap it around this top handle so that it kind of not gets in the way, or don't mistakenly, you know, kind of pull it out or anything like that. Then this comes in here like that. As you can see, it's well tucked away. It's not going to interfere in anything. Your hands can freely do whatever you want to do here, do whatever you want to do here. You know, it's tucked in very, very well. So it's looking good. Now let's bring in our power. Now this is a right angled Type-C power, which is nice because you can mount it and the cable kinds of flashes with the camera, you know, which is nice. Would have been nice to have it on both sides so that when you plug it into the V mount, also flashes with that. But one side is okay. It's okay. We can do with that. So let me open this and let me put this right here. So guys, we are done. So this is how everything is looking. So very minimal setup. Very minimal setup. So guys, this is how I rig up my FX3. That is if I'm doing live streaming, and you can easily do a handheld shot with this rig. You know, you have your focus in here, and because of the V mount battery, you can actually hold it this way like you're on a warfield, you know, and you can actually be shooting, you know, as you go. And it's quite heavy, so you're not going to have all those shaking, you know, that micro jitters shakes in your video. You don't even need a stabilizer when you're using a rig like this. You can actually have it like this and be walking around and you can have it shooting. But it would be nice to actually have a Pyro 7 or a Pyro 5 on top here. You know, when it's slighted this way and you have it on top here, you can actually see whatever you're doing here. So that would be a very nice way to, and if you are tired, you can easily drop this down easily. There's no problem with that. So guys, this is how I rig up my FX3. This is the way I go. The reason I'm using a V mount battery is that, you know, I don't want to rely on the inbuilt battery. I don't want a situation where the shoot is going on and I have to kind of take battery out, plug in a new battery, all that. I don't want to deal with that. But with something like this, or even if it's small, I can stay a very long time, maybe probably like from 4 hours to like 6 hours. And even if this dies, you can easily plug this out, bring this whole thing out, and the camera will still be on because it has a battery in it. So I normally have a battery in there whilst connected to this V-mount battery, you know, so you can easily take this out, bring this V-mount battery, put a new V-mount battery, just plug in the cable, and you don't have to deal with removing anything from the bottom of the camera or putting the camera off. The camera can still be on whilst doing that. And we have our HDMI going directly into the Pyro S, and this is transmitted to the switcher board or whoever is switching in the control room. So guys, this is how I do it. This is the setup, this is the rig, this is what we normally use when we are doing our live streaming. This is how we set everything up. So guys, that will be all for today. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Let's go.